thank y'all very much for coming. I tell you what, it's been a long, challenging year from this time last year when everything just came crashing down around us. But we're back. We're here. We got a plan. Life is going to move smartly forward, and we're going to have ourselves a fly-in April this year, thanks to all of y'all who are not afraid to live life. And that cannot be understated. Thank you very much. All righty. If you all be so kind as to ensure that those electrical devices that connect you to everybody on the planet get turned to the silent or off mode, it'd be most appreciated. And if you'd also be so kind, let's all rise and recognize the most incredible country on the planet that gives us a chance to do such wonderful things as Sun and Fun and our good friends up at AirVenture. So, if you would please join my lovely wife Nancy in the anthem, here we go.
All right, please sing with me today. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the rampart we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Not only is she pretty, she's got a lovely voice. So, without further ado, Gary Gunn, our resident clergy for Sun Fun and Ace.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, may your blessings be upon these men and women that have given up personal time in order to serve others and to help promote the efforts of Ace and Sun and Fun. They have stepped forward to lead the efforts of each individual group, culminating in a common vision to achieve a safe and ultimately successful event. As we struggle within the parameters of the new rules and regulations of this worldwide pandemic that has brought upon us, help us to remember we can find strength when we wait upon the Lord, when we run and not grow weary in you. As the details of this meeting are discussed, open our minds and give us insight and understanding in order to achieve unity and harmony between all these groups. Give all these leaders a spirit of tolerance, patience, and cooperation. Thank you for our staff directors that have worked diligently to keep this organization viable. Lord, would you continue to give each one of them divine wisdom and a peace within their souls. Bless this day and all these people. Amen.
Amen. Amen. All right, please be seated. Before we get into the official part of this presentation, I think it's really fitting to recognize a couple of anniversaries that occurred here last month, January 17th. How many people in this room participated in Desert Storm 1 30 years ago? Looky there. Yeah, great Americans all. Woo-hoo! quite an experience. I can tell you that proved that when you turn the Department of Defense loose and let them do what they do without political intervention, things get done right. And it did. Absolutely. There's another one. 50 years ago today. 50 years ago today. The longest golf shot in history. It's still airborne. Alan Shepard swacked it off the moon on the 6th of February in 1971, and it's still orbiting the moon right now. So, we got that going for us. So I'd like to introduce some leaders that we have in the audience here. Harley Richards, who is the chairman for Sun and Fun. Harley, are you here? Over here. There he is. Come on up, Harley. Harley, and right behind will be Rick, but one at a time, could you please come up?
You know, singing the anthem doesn't give you goosebumps. There's something wrong with it. You know, we don't get to do that often, and it's nice. Nancy, you do a great job. But you know, in addition to all you volunteers, you have to acknowledge some of the other people who are responsible for us being here today. And our obviously very smart Governor DeSantis. Without him opening the state, we wouldn't be here. Our Mayor Mutz, City Commission. And by the way, one of our board members, Scott Franklin, was just elected to Congress, and he was also a city commissioner, which he no longer is. So we have a board member that's a congressman, I think, still. And finally, the people over at the airport city offices, Gene Conrad, Chris Hallstrand, and Adam Lund. So if you see any of these people around today, they have made key decisions that have allowed us to be here today. Thank them and shake their hand. Thank you.
Amen.
Rick Garcia, our chairman for the Aerospace Center for Excellence.
Good morning, everyone. Morning. We all thank people, but I want to thank a special group of people, and that's the staff of Sun and Fun. The staff of Sun and Fun has made a lot of personal sacrifice and everything to keep us afloat without having to dig into line of credit, to be able to keep this going so we can be here today. So I want to thank them very, very much. You want to raise your hand and thank them when you can, because they're great people. Thank you, staff. And then I want to thank you all for being here today and for Sun and Fun when you volunteer, and throughout the year, a lot of you volunteer throughout the course of the year. So thank you all very much also. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And Mike Z is back here, and he's just dying to say thanks, right? If y'all haven't had a chance, you owe it to yourselves to go into the Lakeland Aero Club anytime on a weekday after about 2 o'clock and just witness one of the greatest experiences on the planet, watching young kids transform into young adults under Mike's leadership.
And I just want to thank each and every one of you for what you do, because if you didn't do it, we wouldn't be doing it, and we wouldn't be changing the lives we're changing together. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. I think it should be interesting to note that Mike has re-engaged a program that's been on idle for about 7 years now. With his wisdom and oversight and injection of energy, they reinstated the PIC at 14 gliders. And we now have students that at 14 years old are piloting command, soloing in a glider, on their way to getting their glider rating and then on to the private pilot. But it just proves when you treat that young man or young woman like an adult, they're going to rise up to the occasion, and he's making that happen in spades. Which, for me, I think that's just absolutely fantastic. All right. Just make sure we don't lose sight of the teammate that makes it happen. Rick, obviously, both Harley and Rick recognize all those folks that help us. But at the same time, we've got our friends from the FISDO over in Orlando with Jen Anderson, Steve Moore, and Bob Jett right back here. Raise your hands, folks. And I will tell you with all sincerity that that team is the best FAA team I've ever known in my entire 50 years of flying, because they are really, no kidding, they are here to help. And they've saved our bacon more times than I can ever tell you. because they're involved in making it. They want to find a way to get it to happen, not how to stop it from happening. So I can't thank you enough. Also from ATC, Richard Sack and Miguel Vasquez. Are you all here today? Oh, there they are. There's our ATC team. And I think I see Jennifer back there. Jennifer Sasser. She's the lead for Central Aerospace Academy. And I will tell you on her behalf, if you don't want it done, don't ask her. Because the minute you do, it's going to happen. And then you better hang on, because she's going to be pulling you down to get the rest of the work done. She's a ball of fire, total energy and focus, and changing the whole culture of our Central Aerospace Academy student mentality. That's a great thing. Thank you, Jennifer. And then, of course, we got from our lovely friends over at Lakeland Linder International Airport Tower, Dave Smith. Are you here, Dave? Where's he at? Is he here? He's probably working. All right. Well, needless to say, those are some great folks. They do a lot of good stuff for us. Now, with that, I'm going to give the mic over here to for a little exhilarating, upbeat, motivational, exciting videos put on by our own Alan Fun from Sun and Fun.
Yeah, it might be more of This Is Your Life if you keep up with that.
Oh, get it, Greg.
All right, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
So, COVID, right? We had a little disruption about not long after this time last year. And we found ourselves with a challenge, and also we needed to kind of occupy ourselves for about 3 months as we all went home in quarantine. So during that time, one of the things I was doing, we created the Sun and Fun Home Edition. So we took the initiative to try to recreate Sun and Fun in a way people could enjoy from wherever they were. It worked out pretty well. We also had our fantastic ACE team that pivoted. Our summer camps went virtual. They created things called STEM chats, which we incorporated into the Sun and Fun Home Edition. We had several events within the Home Edition. So all that's going on. It took a lot of research, and then coming up with content for that. I'm blazing through the archives, and I found some things. And it was a great reminder, in some cases a wake-up call, for some of us who have only been here, relative to some of the rest of you, a very short time. But I think it'll also serve as a reminder for those of you who have been here for quite some time that the mission we're currently on is not new. The things we're doing for education, engaging, educating, and accelerating the next generation of aerospace professionals is something that's been going on here for quite some time. So I thought you'd enjoy hearing that from some of the founders of Sun and Fun.
No one comes to Sun and Fun without learning something new. That's Sun and Fun's main mission: aviation education and air safety. That mission is made possible by thousands of volunteers who work before, during, and after the flying to make it a success. To them, Sun and Fun is not just an event or an organization, it's a home.
Funny, if we have an idea everybody likes, so we all step on board and help with it. And everything out here has been built by a volunteer or volunteers that come on and say, you know what we need to do, and if it fits our mission, we do it.
Southern Fund has established a nonprofit foundation to develop an aviation center and world-class museum facility at Lakeland-Linder Regional Airport. The first phase of this ambitious project has already been completed. Future plans include additional phases that, when completed, will rival any aviation center in the world.
As we complete this stage of the museum effort, we will then take it further in terms of expanding this facility and expanding our commitment to it. I, as president of Southern Fund, at this time, feel that within a number of years, the facilities here will far exceed anyone's expectations and have basically recognized that there's really no limit to what all these folks can do when they set their minds to it.
At present, displays include more than 50 aircraft, including some amazing home buildings, splendidly historic classics and antiques, and some proud old warrooms. Here's a museum where kids can come and nestle down in the seat of aviation history. In the super year, ISAM is expanding. Soon there will be a new theater at the pavilion and much needed space for additional displays, providing an opportunity and a safe, secure place for those who wish to leave a legacy. ISAM keeps under its wing the priceless Howard Hughes personal aviation collection, including Hughes' own flight suits, aircraft models, and a wind tunnel.
But right now, the needs for expansion there are tremendous because we have an opportunity to capture and preserve a lot of items of historic value or value that is going to be lost if we don't move on it pretty fast over the next couple of years.
This country's superiority around the world in aeronautics and space stems from the private aviation. Source of that, the bedrock wellspring of that is like flying in from those people that come here. If it wasn't for the people that come to Southern Fund and that, we really wouldn't have any basis for people to draw from to become the engineers and the astronauts and all of the people that make the structure great in here. This is the wellspring.
We feel like Southern Fund is going to continue to grow. We're continually buying new land, leasing new land, and the city has been so cooperative that it's now gotten to the place that they feel that anything Southern Fund asks for, they should have, really, if it's possible. So we want to continue to make it grow. We want people to enjoy coming. It's a great place to be.
A quarter century of Southern Fund has drawn people together from all over the free and not so free world.
Yeah. Things I never expected to see on Lakeland Airport, I guess. Being a resident here most of my life is the Russian Jack, Russian Pig, the Messerschmitt, Spitfire. Some of the things of that type I would have never believed I'd lived long enough to see them on Lakeland Airport. So maybe the world will get better whether we realize it all the time or not.
Billy Henderson, ladies and gentlemen. You know, looking through that, I recognize a lot of people. I don't know if all of you saw it, but all of you recognize we're still using those same blue trash cans. that was right there. Profound. Very, very, very profound. And nice to hear, especially our own Bill Eichhoff there. Some prophetic words. So many amazing staff and some volunteers that are here year-round with us that we're really glad that you, the cavalry, are here to come bail us out because it's been a long year. All right, so with that, I think they're all superheroes. Anybody knows me knows I'm kind of a superhero in that. So I thought that all of our folks deserve the superhero credit roll. So let's have that. any of you were wondering what the candy camera thing was going on with Ronnie Stiltner giving me a hand, that was what it was for. So obviously, we had people really wondering what the heck is going on here. So with that, thank you very much. It's out of line.
Wow, that was great, Greg.
I don't know where you get that talent, my friend, but it is exceptional. And wow, what a great story it tells. Those will be used for a long time. If anybody wants copies of that, we'll be glad to provide them. Are you shaking your head? You don't want one? Okay. Well, the truth is, it's out there for y'all to use, and we'll be sharing those as needed. So, getting from here to there, and how do we get from there to here? There was a whole lot of effort put forth on the part of volunteers and staff coming up collectively with lots of ideas on how to become more fiscally responsible and how to be more creative and revenue generating and staying engaged. Let's all be very clear. Last March, early April, we lost $4.5 million of revenue. We should have shut down. We thought we would by August or September. But the collective effort of everybody engaged came together and found ways to eke by and get all the way to today, and will now get all the way to the fly-in on the 13th of April, because we stayed true to our course here. We stayed professional. We stayed positive. We put our efforts into being productive and doing something. And at the same time, we just didn't get excited. We just stayed the course. And what's the most important key to any evolving scenario? Stay very, very flexible. And we did that. And because of that, not only are we financially solid right now, but Skylab is underway. The boards and ourselves got together and discussed, should we or shouldn't we continue with Skylab? The resounding answer was, that's our mission. That's our core competence. We've got to go do it. Why would we do all of this if we couldn't do that? It wouldn't make any sense, would it? So, as a tribute to all of y'all's effort, we have chosen and are executing an incredible expansion of over 22,000 square feet, which will be an aviation-based, hands-on STEM learning laboratories that can expand from a giant auditorium of 500 down to 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different hands-on classrooms for STEM learning based on aerospace competencies. So that's the key to success right there. And y'all made it happen. And all those folks you saw in the earlier videos, they were part of the beginning and the force that got us here, and we're going to carry it forward. So we're going to start up now and go through each one of our disciplines and how we're doing and what we're going to do for the fly-in. But trust me, unless they shut the world down, Sun and Fun 21 is going to happen. You saw the video up there. We've got a new face in the crowd. Mr. Doug Jeans has just joined the team. Doug comes from Dallas, Texas. For 27 years, Doug has been coming to Sun and Fun as a representative of a thing called the Cavanaugh Flight Museum. If y'all, some of y'all may know what that is. And for the last 22 years, he has been their president and CEO. President and the executive director. Got that right. President and executive director. He's flown pretty much every fighter and bomber in the World War II inventory, along with a lot of classics. He builds airplanes, hundreds and thousands of hours of flight time, and he comes with a wealth of experience transitioning that museum into a STEM-oriented educational facility. That's what he did. So I'm going to turn over to Doug. He's just joined our team as of this week, and he's going to help keep the banner going that Ed Young and Tim have started. Tim's still here, thank God. But Ed has gone over to the airport. He's going to be working with Gene's team. But for now, Doug is here to help carry that banner forward.
Thanks, Lex. I'm glad to be here. I planned out this long speech telling you all about my experiences and everything. I kind of covered some of the highlights of it and everything. And I was just so excited to come here and be offered the job. And then I was just informed that Greg and Lights had gotten together and said, what can we do to stop Doug from flying that damn Huey all week long? It's Sun and Fun. So they offered me a job, I guess. That's what I But I'm really, really excited to be here. The Catamount Flight Museum, like you said, we had implemented several plans, developments, raised funds, did just everything up to the point of actually building. So now I get to come into something where this has already kind of started, and now I get to see it go on. So it did a lot, and the team back there, I'm really excited to be here and work with them, and of course the board members got a good board, and all of y'all. It's going to be kind of something different. Grew up, like many of y'all, being on this side of the rope watching the air show, and then I got the opportunity to go on that side of the rope and be part of the air show. Now I get to go behind the people behind the rope and get back here and try to see what it's like to put on the air show. So looking forward to working with all y'all. I'll be around. Come talk to me. It's a great honor to be here. Thanks, Mike.
All right, another valued team member. So, here we go. My dear friend, comrade in arms, teammate, brother from another mother, best ever airport manager in the entire world, Gene Conrad. Thank you very much for being part of the team.
All right. Hey, first of all, awesome to see you all. I will tell you, I mean, like you said, we are having this flying. It's going to happen. We have no choice. We're going to do it, and it's going to be great. So I just want to tell you all that. Rest assured, it is going to happen. Anything I can do for you guys, anybody from my team, anything that we can do to help you guys this year. Not a lot has changed per se on the south side of the airfield for you. Other things have changed on the north side, and there'll be some changes coming in the future on the south side, but I'll go through some of that. And again, even going through up to the flying, if your individual teams, they want me to come speak, or Chris or Adam or someone like that, and you got questions about what's going on, we're happy to answer them, so don't hesitate. But don't send me emails at 1 in the morning because I will look at it. I want to sleep in. Just go through some things. So on the south side, NOAA is finishing up, along with us, a $12 million expansion to their facility. So obviously you've seen the facility in the past. There was an open bay to the right of it. That is now part of their space. So they got another 25,000 square feet of hangar space and another 50,000 square feet of office space. So it's a $12 million expansion. They just added another King Air, and they're bringing in a G550, a new one as well, and they're going to add anywhere from 50 to 75 more people to their team over there as well. So a lot of great things with NOAA. And we just entered into a new 20-year lease with them as well, because originally it was a 5-year firm with a 5-year option, so we have a whole brand new lease for 20 years, so they're going to be here for a long time. Up on the north side, we're finishing up. We're on the last phase of the project, but what we call the Northeast Quad, Alpha Bravo Charlie. Up on the northeast side, we're finishing that construction up. Bravo and Charlie's done, and we're working on Alpha right now. It should be done around March 6th. So again, made another project before the flying. So. And by the way, we finished the runway before the flying last year. And but then COVID. Taxiway Echo. So we are in design for this project right now. This will start in September of this year. So it's not going to affect you for the flying this year. Next year, it'll be, all the grass will be nice, it'll all be groomed and look great. But you can see on the right-hand side, the red portion, that elbow there, we're taking that out, and we'll have the new green north-south that will connect into Delta. So that will be a change and an improvement on the airfield, and this is part of our master plan as well. Taxiway Papa, so we're going to design that this year, but we will not start the construction for that until September of 2022. So we're in, I forget sometimes, it's 2021 already, but we'll do this after 2022, or at September 2022. So we're designing it now, but it will be a couple years before we get to this piece. The cat-free ILS, so if you've been following some of the things that have been happening here, prior to Amazon getting here, we upgraded our ILS from a Cat 1 to a special authorization Cat 2, and now we're in the throes of upgrading it all the way to the Cat 3. So when we did the runway project, we put in all of the conduit and all the cans for the touchdown zone lighting and all the centerline lighting. So the cans and all the infrastructure's in, now we're going to put the fixtures in. That will happen here shortly, post Sun and Fun, I believe. And then also we're going to build a vault, a new airfield vault that will be just south of our existing tower. And also you can see to the left there of the tower, the little blue box with the gray box. That'll be a new hangar as well that's being built up on the north side. So while we've been going through COVID and all these weird things have been happening, that we've been extremely busy. It's probably one of the best years we've ever had here, actually, and we're very fortunate for that. But growth continues, and new construction and new investment into the facility. Also, our friends over at FBO at Shelter, they are getting ready to build 2 new 20,000 square foot hangars up on the north side of the airport, which will be just south of the Staybridge Hotel up there, the Staybridge Suites. So they're in final design, going to what we call DRT, or Design Review Team with the city. So these will be coming out of the ground sometime this year, probably the next 60 to 90 days. Also, we have a new, I'm sure if you were here for the Holiday Flying Festival, we have a new FBO coming on the field as well. So what you're seeing here is their layout. The road, the dark asphalt looking road, that's coming from the north, dropping straight down from Airport Road into the airfield, into a 120,000 square foot ramp, with a new 5,000 square foot FBO building, a new 15,000 square foot hangar, and another 10,000 square foot hangar as well. So we did not give them any incentives. We're not building the road for them. They're coming in and putting about $7 to $8 million in the ground to build all of these facilities to be on this airport and conduct business. So we're happy to have them, and you know, there'll be competition on the field. So some people have different viewpoints of that. I'm indifferent, obviously, because I'm with the city of Lakeland. But it's going to be a great facility, and we're looking forward to it. Just to give you some bearings to the aircraft on the southern side, that's coming off Alpha, so that's their connection into taxiway Alpha, and then on the left of the road is taxiway Gulf, just to give you some reference. Also, I know you've seen this, we've talked about the airport master plan for years, but we are done. We finished it up back late last year, and the FAA signed off on it in September of 2020. So it is complete. You're welcome to go to our website. There is a link to our ALP. You can study it, zoom in on it, look at whatever you'd like. And again, if you have questions, we're happy to answer those. But you basically have seen everything that's on the ALP that we've talked about for the last several years. And also, if you can, just to point out real quick, those light blue areas, that's future development. And what you can see on the south side, we're not showing any new hangar development or other development. That's going to obviously affect Sun Fun over the long term, other than the runways and taxiways. But as far as new buildings and all of that, we're not showing anything on the south side. And the last piece, this is a picture I believe was taken sometime probably in September or October. Obviously our friends at Amazon are operating. I'm sure if you live over in the early bird areas or whatnot, you get to enjoy that at 6 o'clock in the morning, so you're welcome. But they've been obviously a great tenant for us. They put over $200 million into this building. Right now they're at 7 flights a day. They have 800 people working in that building right now. And at some point we'll probably be able to get tours for people to get in there, but it is an impressive facility. There's 3 floors in there, all the robots and mechanical arms and robot arms and all the stuff that's in there, and it's insane. And actually what's cool is the new facilities are building around the United States. They're all coming here to this facility to train, because this is their most advanced cargo facility right now. So it's pretty cool. And this is an aerial just to show the site. So it's about 47.7 acres. So there's 3 buildings. The 2 smaller buildings house their operational folks, and they work on the GSE equipment in one of those facilities as well. So that's all I have. I want to go through this quick because I know Lights wants me to get out of here and stop talking. But I'm going to turn this over to Adam Lund. But one more thing I want to say real quick. Again, we're happy to see you guys. Congratulations to Sun Fun, the entire team, for keeping this thing going through this weird year we've all been dealing with. And special thanks always to my team and all the efforts, and Chris and Adam and Craig and Wingtip back there. You can raise your hand, Wingtip. Everybody asks Wingtip why his name's called Wingtip, by the way. But anyway, again, congratulations to y'all. We look forward to a great flying. So thank you.
All right, thank you guys. I'm going to go through some of the procedures this year. Nothing's really changed from previous fly-ins. And as a side note, a wingtip costs about $750,000. You want to go talk to wingtip? So airfield mowing. So we're going to do our final cut Wednesday, April 7th. We're going to mow all the aircraft parking areas to 3 inches, same as last year, or 2019. One change, we are going to start mowing from the west, general aircraft camping, and head to the east, finishing up at Chocolate Town. And then any additional mowing requests, please make those through 10 wells. Badging. So we're going to give regular badges to our early birds and Sun Fun employees only. Any event badges, there's going to be volunteers operating prior to April 9th and after April 19th, and that is only if you're operating on the air side inside the air operations area. Temporary AOA badges, we're going to give those out to FAA, ATC, and Tech Ops. And then any post 500 East Access Road vehicle passes, those are going to be restricted to only FAA and military this year. And then, of course, airport badges are not required Friday, April 9th through Monday, April 19th. Event badges, so please make sure that you guys get the proper forms filled out for us, and make sure that you bring your IDs in. All those are going to be filled out through our regular security access application, which is available on our website. So you can go there, download it, fill it out, and then make sure you go see Laura Vaughn or Tim Wells and get that signed. But of course, we ask everyone, please talk to your chairman prior to make sure that you actually need a credential. And then again, our 2 IDs, driver's license, and then we'll also need a passport, birth certificate, or social security card. Make sure you bring those in, otherwise we won't be able to even put you through the training class itself. And then of course each card holder can escort for 15 people. And please make sure that you get all of your badges back to the airport if you're issued one of those temporary badges by April 22nd. That's the Thursday after the flying. And then some of our change condition dates. So we're going to be closing runway 523 and 826 on Friday, April 2nd, and then it will reopen at 4 p.m. on Thursday, April 22nd. And the same thing for the southern taxiways. Camping on the 8-way will be authorized Friday, April 9th until 5 p.m. on Monday, April 19th. And then we are still closing the airport nightly, 7:30 p.m. to 6 o'clock a.m., except for air cargo aircraft. We're still going to be bringing in some evening Amazon flights and early Amazon morning departures. And then, of course, again, airport badges are not required, Friday, April 9th through Monday, April 19th. And then if you have any questions, we have flyers and handouts in the back. Just come see us afterwards, and we have all this information for you. And then our convention procedures as far as setup, again, no permanent installations unless approved by the airport. Please call operations before you come on the airfield so we know where you're moving, where you're going, and what you're installing for the day. Clearance requirements, we need 300 feet from the VOR, 35 feet from the AWAS, 40 feet from the edge of all taxiway pavements, except X-ray Bravo, which will need 60 feet to make sure you can get the large aircraft in on the southwest ramp. And we will do a contractor and volunteer briefing. So if anyone, any chairman, if you guys would like to go through this briefing, highly recommend it. Please contact our offices. We will set that up. We can do Teams meetings, or you can come down and meet in person as well. The briefing is mandatory for all contractors working inside the AOA. And again, handouts afterwards. And any questions, just come see us in the back. And I'm going to hand it over to Tracy Neal.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. So, how on earth did we survive this last year? The fly-in, just so you know, brings in about 75% of the revenue that we need to survive every year. So what did we do? We had to add some revenue sources. We have a very creative staff, and they all pulled together. Because we couldn't have any events, we rented out all our hangars as much as possible. We increased our year-round camping. We've had people camping here all year. The December event, hopefully you joined us for that great event. That event helped us raise about $100,000, which we desperately needed, which was great. We've sold 7 airplanes. We had an RV, a trailer, a car. We had artifacts. We had stuff in closets. We sold it all. And then we had a lot of very generous donations. People this year have just been super generous and helped us out whenever they could. As far as expenses, thanks to the city, they waived our lease for 1 year, which was awesome. We had to reduce our staff from 44 to 29 people. Most of those were part-time students that were helping us in the museum and out in maintenance. So we kept most of our full-time people. We turned off every electric meter we could possibly turn off and turned off the lights as much as possible. Of course, we halted all major repairs and capital improvements except for the Skylab. Thank goodness, before the fly-in last year, we had collected most of our exhibitor, sponsor, advertiser money. About 2/3 of that money, they allowed us to roll it to this year. So that meant we didn't have to refund a whole lot of money, which would have killed us if we'd had to refund all that money. Many of our vendors that we had already paid made deposits. They allowed us to carry that deposit forward to this year. So that's a lot of money we're not having to put out for this year's show. We had quite a bit of cash reserves that because we had done so well the 5 years before, we had saved up quite a bit of money, which helped us greatly. We've received the PPP loan number 1 and number 2, Polk Cares grant. We received 2 of those. And just so you know, and I think we've already said it, but because of all of this, we have a $1.5 million line of credit, but I never had to touch it. So our staff did awesome. Oh, okay. So thank you. I just want to say thank you for being here. We need this show. We are definitely having it because my cash reserves are now gone. So I thank you for being here.
There we go.
Thanks, Tracy. So just a couple things. It's great to see everyone, first of all. It seems like I haven't seen you guys in 2 years almost, but got to see some of you in December, which was a refreshing deal. I just want to let you know, in continuing with Tracy's conversation here about what we have for sale, we are selling John Lean House.
Oh, no, you're not.
There is no reserve. So and actually, I'm getting tired of working by candlelight in my office. When Tracy says she turned off all the electric, she meant all the electric. So maybe I'll have a light and flashlight. Before I get rolling through my presentation here real quick, I would like to give a shout out to my friends over at the airport and all their support that they've given us. I'd also like to thank Gene Conrad personally because I no longer need my alarm clock. My first wake-up call is at 7:37 at 6 a.m. I hit the snooze button. And at 6:30 promptly is the 767, which tells me it's time to get out of bed and get to work. So, unlike many others, I enjoy airplane noise, so thank you. I appreciate it. But no, seriously, the team over there has been excellent to work with. Their ever-changing master plan and development and everything that they have going on, the endless support has been very helpful. So, without further ado, let me roll through my slides and I'll get out of your hair. First, I'd like to introduce my team. So I'm going to start with Ruben Scheidel. I apologize, I didn't have a picture of Murray. Everybody saw Murray, the deputy site director. His birthday was yesterday, so he's enjoying a nice weekend off. But Ruben, my right-hand man here. Ruben is the guy that gets it done. And the one thing, if you didn't know about Ruben, is he loves aviation, which is a common theme amongst the maintenance staff or the site staff. As you can see next to Ruben's picture, is this really cool Zenith that he's been building. I think for 12 years, 15 years, Ruben? It was a couple wives ago. Anyway, here's the beautiful part, right? I mean, who would have thought the site foreman was building his own airplane, so now I just got to get him his light sport license and keep following our mission. Because that's what this is all about, right, is our mission, is aviation and education. So I'm really proud. Just to introduce some of my other guys, our newcomer, Mark Bull Maddox. Now, where's Bull at? I see him standing back there. He's about the size of a roll-up door, and hence the name El Toro Loco, or Bull. Bull is also working on his private pilot's license. Donnie Harville. Donnie flies a weed whacker with a wing on it. I did go flying with him, probably never again. No, I'm kidding. He's a great pilot, flies out of South Lakeland, and loves being in the air. My main man, Tim here, he takes care of mowing. And I think he has, I'm actually thinking about getting AAA for the mower because he is nonstop. The facility has never looked better, and my hat's off to my entire team for getting it done. And Matt Anderson, we moved Matt around a little bit, and it seemed to be a better fit for Matt to come down to the wacky hut called maintenance because he's the event logistics manager, which makes a lot of sense since we do a lot of the heavy lifting and chairs and tables and stuff like that, so to have a direct line of sight with Matt makes a lot of sense. And also, we put Matt in charge of camping. And I can't begin to tell you the phenomenal job, Matt. Hats off to you. to our faithful volunteers that work in the office day in and day out dealing with our camping registration. But it's amazing what camping has done. Rick Garcia and I were talking about for years that we have such a gem with camping. God ain't making any more dirt. So the dirt that we have is very valuable. And I'm here to tell you that we have an upcoming dog show. I think we have 250 camping reservations, give or take. And after we get done with that, in the past 7 months, we raised $140,000 in camping. So a round of applause for that one. All right, my custodial team, can't ever forget the quiet ones. You never see them. They're like snipers. But you come in the next day and the floors are mopped and the trash is taken out and the dishes are washed. They don't do that by themselves. Our faithful friend Carol here went out with a medical issue this year, and fortunately she's doing really, really great and she's ready to come back to work. But in the meantime, we picked up Delaney there on my left, and again, following the mission, right? Delaney she just turned 18. She's a senior collegiate. She'll graduate in May with her high school diploma and her associate's degree. She's a James C. Ray recipient. She's a private pilot and she's working on her instrument rating. That's awesome, isn't it? That's all because of what you guys do. So even in the site department, we're following the mission. So I'm proud of them. Speaking of it, my other 2 rock stars, they left my nest in my cradle. Breaks my heart. But the nice part is I may have extorted them into volunteering for the rest of their life because I was such a good boss. But Logan and Brian are now both A&Ps, and to make full circle, they're both working on the north side of the airport. So it's awesome to see the fruits of our labor and how it all integrates to go over to the Lakeland International Airport side. That's just what we're doing. We're building the feeder group. And these guys are, it's just amazing to watch all their accomplishments and successes. So when you see them around the campus, make sure you say congratulations while they're out putting up snow fence or rope or running a weed eater, Skylab. Let's talk about Skylab just for a minute. That's that little building up front. If you didn't notice it when you pulled in, actually Donna said, "Oh my God, what is that?" I said, "It's not going to move your trailer, Donna." It's amazing, right? I'm humbled personally by the historical value. I was talking with Bill Eichhoff the other day, and to see Bill with hair, I didn't recognize him. Colonel Bob Biley. These guys, they did a lot of heavy lifting, and we wouldn't be where we are today without them.
That's true.
And it started years ago. There was a Fill the Gap campaign, and it came up short, and I think that was right when Lights started. And we were very fortunate with the grants and loans and the fundraising and the tenacity that Lights had to go forward and to talk to our boards. And our board members came together because it was very difficult for us, right? We were making hard decisions. We were reducing staff. We were trying to stay alive. But we had to stay relevant. We had to stay relevant to our mission. So the money that came from Skylab was all funds that were restricted for Skylab. So the go or no-go decision by the boards just basically came down to, if we quit, if we walk away right now, we lose millions of dollars that we can't get back. So right, as of today, we're about 1.2 million short, so if anyone would like to write a check for Lights, you can take them home with you. It's for sale for 1.2 million. I'm not kidding, you go for one. Anyway, it's part of our mission to keep us relevant, and it really is something that is way cool when you get a chance for one of us to escort you through that project and look at what we're doing with the STEM classrooms and the administration offices and the extension to the museum and the gift shops. It's interesting because every person that I walk through there go, "Where exactly am I standing in the old museum?" And I'll be like, "Oh, you're standing right in Tracy's office." You look around and go, "I'm not in Tracy's office." I think even Tracy said I'm not in Tracy's office. But it is, it's something that for years and years and years, that this dream has now become a reality, and to watch it come up out of the ground is something that's so special. So thank you all. Thank you to the board. Thank you for making these hard decisions. And thank you to each and every one of you, because you guys should all be proud of this, because this is your gem too. So I just promise you, I'll get it across the goal line as best I can. Billy Henderson in the video, right? Billy. I think it's so cool to be able to go to Lakeland Aero Club and see Billy's plane. How many of you seen Billy's plane? Mike Z from the Lakeland Aero Club owns Billy's plane. If you knew anything about Billy, he worked in a Cadillac dealership, service department, right? Body shop. If you look inside Billy's plane, it looks like a 1984 Cimarron. Anyway, to tribute to Billy, we had, again, restricted donations that were specifically for the Henderson, what we call the Henderson Plaza. And on February 23rd this month, we're going to have a structure built over top of this concrete pad. And the way that I designed the pad is so all the logo bricks that we removed from the museum from Skylab, or to start Skylab, will be replaced here. And we're going to make it in remembrance of Billy and all the pioneers that got us to where we are today. So this area is right up behind the 727. We're going to make it a marquee for our front door step. And this will continue to evolve, right? I'll have the building up by the fly-in this year. I'll get the bricks down. We'll try to get some landscaping done. But this is a project that's going to continue to grow as time goes and as we start turning the fiscal corner that we can start investing back in it as well. Our expanded camping operations, which I told you about, year-round camping, we do have certain blackout dates. I think April 13th to the 18th is probably a tough time to camp here, but too much airplane noise. Thanks, Steve. So anyway, I've already alluded to our year-round camping and making our camping a profit center for us. So I'd like to report to Tracy that I think the first time in the history of the maintenance department, we are trying to make a profit. Our 826 runway clearing project. Yeah.
Go back and tell them about the country store.
Oh, yeah, thank you, the country store. So our wonderful early bird volunteers, Mark, Gurley, and Chris, I saw them back there somewhere. There you are. Hi, Mark. They've taken it upon themselves to make our country store relevant. So when we have these huge camping events, when you have 250 campers out here, we're going to have services available to them. Sell firewood, just that little odds and ends. So it really is now becoming something that's more of a building that's not just sitting there for 11 months out of the year. It's becoming more relevant. So if anybody's been to a KOA or, Good Sam's, you have these conveniences. So this is all part of it as well. So thank you to those guys. All right, back to our 826, not ready. We are going to be continuing to work on it with the airport over the next year or so. But for this year, it won't be ready. With a lot of help from our year-round volunteers, Dave Wall, I know, how many of these things did you end up with? 17 or 18, Eric Washburn over there clearing it out. And then with some help with Chris Hallstrand in the airport, they had the big bulldozers and stuff come in and clear it all out. We left all the oak trees. But as you can see, this is going to be a vibrant area in years to come. All right, this is going to be a small area. It looks, I say small, but it's 11 acres. Actually, it isn't that small. But this area will continue to grow over time. That's what I can promise you. Nature Trail. I hate to say it. A moment of silence, please. Yeah. Unfortunately, wood, no matter if it's pressure treated or not, does not do well in Florida weather. And basically, another decision that we had to make this year was, do we risk having people walk through there and the wood's rotted and you go through it? Not very good. Plus, a couple storms came through and trees laid down on it. So we made the decision just to disconnect the nature trail. So, sorry, no shortcut to get into the fly-in this year. You're going to have to go right around E-Hanger and make sure you buy your ticket. And then my last thing, a special shout out to my early bird volunteers. They're here, the faithful ones. Not that anyone else is less faithful, but they're here from January through April. And some of them even stay year-round. So the year-round volunteers that help us do the heavy lifting, guys, it's tough to mow 172 acres. So if you have an acre of land, mow it 172 times in a week and come back to me. So I really appreciate it. I appreciate the early birds this year more than ever. You have the skill sets, right? That, hey, I'm a carpenter, or hey, I'm an electrician, or hey, I'm this. Not this year. we're all in this together. So everybody is doing stuff that's even outside of their wheelhouse or their trade profession. You know, they're out there getting it done. They're helping striping, they're helping painting, they're helping cleaning out Sunset Grill and pressure washing. So I really appreciate that because this year is different. So thank you very much for all your help and your support. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Greg. Thank you all.
Thank you, Tim. I'm back. All right, so air operations this year, you know, Adam covered quite a bit of this already, and this will just kind of be a redo. Pretty much picking up where we left off in 2020, right before the rug got pulled out. So, let's see.
Greg, before you get started, do you have any specific numbers from the holiday show? How many aircraft, how many people, things like that?
1. I'm really tired. We estimate, we didn't keep a real good, we didn't keep a continuous count on people, but it was about anywhere between 7,500-ish showed up. We had around 350 to 400 aircraft total that came in, because we had 90 at camp. We had one guy that was out here Wednesday after the show was done. We had to go out there, like he's in his underwear. Like, you can't do that. You know, distraction on the runway, tighty whities. But yeah, it wasn't getting them. It was getting rid of them. It was the problem. No, it was the December event was fantastic. I guess a bench setter. You had a real, trying to figure out how people would respond to the environment. So there's a lot of things that we were doing there. One was, let's have a revenue thing. It wasn't the main focus. It was more about what can we learn from this that we can take into 2021. How will people respond? Will they sell social distance? Will they come at all? And then what were the exhibitors' thoughts like? Which we had, I think, we had around 100, 80, 82. Okay, so not bad for a weekend joint, and everything went very well. People were extremely respectful, and they kind of isolated in their own groups, and it was interesting to watch the dynamic of how they all behaved, and behaved they did. We had not one single reported event, COVID or otherwise. I think that a lady tripped on a pipe somewhere was the worst situation that we had, that you have anyway. So all good, and I think people came away from here very happy. We had some very fortunate things that happened. I would hesitate to think we'd ever get a military demonstration team in December again. I don't know. That was amazing to have the F-35 and F-16 and the Army Black Daggers come in to do something on such short notice. So very cool, very great that the community supported it, and I think we proved the concept. The STOL competition was great. We had about 50 to 70 aircraft that participated in that, and good proof of concept there. I think we can operate that thing. We are planning to do it next year, so that's on the calendar already for 2021, and we expect to have a pretty good turnout for that. The STOL competition will be the headline. We do plan to have a demonstration STOL like we did last year, almost exactly the same plan as we had last year. It will not be a competition. We don't really want to support the amount of time that would take. So, quick shelf description of what we had going on. Thank you for asking. For airside, our non-movement area is basically going to be what Adam described, and that's down south of runway 927. NOAA this year, actually, there is no entry to NOAA whatsoever. It's steer clear, don't go there. They've got their own quarantine scenarios when it comes to COVID protocols, and so we're not going to house any aircraft there during the flying. There's no reason to be in that area at all. We can definitely expect for our Southside tenants to continue operations all the way through Friday, and Adam and I haven't discussed this specifically, but the plan would be for us to have, we have a traffic pattern, ground pattern in place that they'll follow. I guess we need to revisit that when the tax of the equity thing gets redone, but expect that traffic movement. So those of you who are working airside, it's still an active airport, and you need to keep your head on a swivel to make sure that everybody doesn't have an unfortunate interaction with an airplane. Let's see. All right, and some of this again just kind of regurgitate what we talked about last year, but there is a new apron in front of the Polk Aviation College area, and that pavement is not for our use; that's for their use. It's part of their tenant agreement. So if you see it, you go, "Hey, look, more pavement." That's not ours. All right, that's not going to be available to us. That's theirs. John and Dan Walsh are going to run our ground advisory, Friday through Sunday leading up to the show. We'll blend in. Dick and your team, you guys will come in there around on Sunday and make a handoff for Monday. And then John and his team will actually move back over to Plant City and operate the temporary tower there. So just having a little bit of extra control on the ground there prior to the event starting is something the airport and we have discussed, and we agree that's something that needs to happen. So we're going to put it in place. And as you saw with Adam's restriction, the airport badge is submitted, and you are familiar with that now. All right, airside operations, we're really going to continue cracking down on the number of vehicles that are over there. It's a real problem. One of the things we learned from the December event is those little one-wheel jobs. It's got that little ATV tire on it.
Yeah.
Is Corey Suttle here? No, I don't think so. Corey Side Ditch Suttle. Corey found out the hard way what one of those things can do to you if you happen to zig and you should have zagged, and he's got a sling on his arm right now. So it's rough. Those things are fast. And they kind of compound what was already out there in the way of personal conveyances, I'll call them. This is just convenience. This is just things that people are using. It looks like a good idea until all of a sudden you run over somebody. So we're just not going to allow them. And if you have any of those in your own, you're thinking you're going to do it, you can stop thinking that because we're not going to use them. Golf cart procedures are the same. If you have a personal golf cart, you need to check that through LAR. If it's being utilized in your area, then that's certainly okay. If you're just using it for convenience, that's not going to be okay. So keeping those things reduced is going to be a very important part of what we do. It's the largest problem we have insurance-wise with golf cart or conveyance people incursions. When those two get together at any kind of speed, it ends up being an insurance claim. So we want to keep that down. If you witness an aircraft incident, now it could be really anything. If it's anything that has to do with an aircraft contacting anything other than it rolling on the ground, it needs to be reported. So the way that we'd like this to go is report it directly at that time to your chairman, Air Ops, and get it to your chairman. Chairman need to get that to Flipper. Flipper's going to notify me, and I'm going to notify the airport. That way everybody knows, and then through that, Tracy, we're going to let you know. All right, the end game of all this is the airport absolutely has to know when these things happen every single time. Severity is not really an issue. We're not worried about how good or how okay that one. Okay, it was just a little thing. The wingtip rubbed the fence. Nope, we still need to know. All right, if there is a connection with an aircraft of anything other than its rubber on the taxiway as in normal operations, you need to make people aware. And ultimately, the airport has to know, they have to report it as part of their Part 139 charter, and as part of our procedures, because we have to log that in the event that something comes up that's reportable to the insurance company or law enforcement or anything else. So we actually had a pedestrian struck with a wingtip one time, and it didn't manage to get reported until the next day. Not good. All right, so we have to keep that from happening. Same thing, everyone has a red flag. If you see something, say something, let's shut it down, figure out how to sort it out. The inconvenience will go away, and normal operations will come back and keep everybody safe. It's much better to stop something before it happens than to try to fix it after it happens. So everyone has the power to get that done. Aircraft parking overview. This is something that we started on. Again, that's a really weird concept. We'd like to have airplanes on the airport, cars in parking lots, and campers in campgrounds. Odd concept, but we're going to try to make that happen over time. Right now, if you brought your airplane for people to see and enjoy it, it's fine for it to come in and be a personal conveyance to get you here, that's fine. If you brought it for it to be seen, vintage, LSA, Warbirds, aerobatic, we'll talk about aerobatic in a minute, that goes in the show plane area. If you're not one of those, it goes over there. All right, it's real simple. If you brought it to be seen and enjoyed, it goes this side. If you just brought it to come see and enjoy the other planes, then it goes over there. All right, trying to keep it simple. You'll notice that the GA parking that we had, the every other plane box that normally was up where we used to call home up parking, is not lit. I'll talk about that in a second. Warbird ramp is definitely going to remain static. The idea there has caught on and has gone quite well. So we've got some fantastic displays. in that area. It's been very functional as an exhibit area for those aircraft, military. Certainly shout out to our military operations team, Rich, Shelley. You guys have been fantastic, and I would like to just mention our dear friend Brett Krause, who passed in November. Really got this started and did a seamless job in getting his team oriented, and I've seen absolutely zero gaps in operations. As a matter of fact, the team carried off all of the military operations completely flawlessly during the December event. So you guys give them a round of applause for that. Brett would be very proud. Special warbird activities are planned for several. The ones we know about right now are T-34s and T-28s. We're going to be commemorating several things we couldn't do last year on the actual 75th anniversary of the end of World War II. We're going to celebrate it anyhow. I think we can celebrate it every year because it was a good thing. So we're going to bring those back, and more to come in the next meeting about what those are going to look like. Reiterating, no vehicles on the ramp. And what I mean by that is, if you are just transiting the ramp to get from point A to point B, don't make the warbird ramp your transit path. If you are operating an airplane out there, you have supplies, gear, someone's got a C-47 out there or something, need to get gear to and from, we're going to allow that. We're not going to make them carry it, your hand carry it all the way across the parking lot. But it's not a thoroughfare. Tram tours are an exception. We want people to be able to see that, but that we can manage. But when it comes to just driving across there, don't shortcut it, go around. We'll be cracking down on that. The designated parking zones are going to be a little bit different. We had started this, again, we were on this for last year, but we didn't get there. So the Warbird building and the performer tent, please don't park there. I'm going to show you in a moment where you will be able to park. I think it's going to be an improvement for your airside, air operations people, volunteers, and Warbird folks that are going to be parking on the air side. A little bit of a walk, but not nearly as bad as other places you can go, and it's definitely the right place to put things. So, and certainly don't ever pass a tram. Please don't pass a tram. Trams are kind of unpredictable. They have to stop for pedestrians, and if they're stopping for a pedestrian and you get mad, you try to go around, and guess what you're about to run into? The pedestrian. So let's not have that. All right, I know it's not designed for you to be able to read this. This is more about just the idea of a
green button.
Got it. So the Warbird ramp, this area right here will have a viewing area, the 927 Club, a viewing area, a row of tents, and then the displays will be here, thoroughfare there, Warbirds and whatnot down here on this side. And of course, they'll be intermingled underneath all the big airplanes. Very similar operations for the southern boundary of the Warbird ramp. Food court will be unchanged. Down here, this camping it's natural. It's reduced itself just by folks that aren't coming. But at the same time, we've also begun reducing it somewhat so that the only campers that are going to be are those that have actual support needs on the ramp itself. So just, hey, I'm cool, I get to camp down here, that's going away. You can be cool in the campground. So it's more of a design to try to get more room for our aircraft, less traffic going back and forth. The airport has, I'm going to call it a request, but when it's a gunpoint, you take it a little differently, to reduce the amount of vehicles on the air side. So this is in response to, one, being the right thing to do, and two, they've actually called it out as something that they expect us to do over the next several years. So what used to be the line lot is now going to be an expanded aerobatic HQ. Aerobatic HQ used to operate this little spot here, so they're tripling down in the amount of space they're going to have available. We do have some pretty cool aerobatic folks. They're going to be coming in the way of performers, along with the IEC that's being contacted by our folks that are chairman and managing that area. And we expect to have that something that can be really proud of over the next several years. So, since that was the line lot, where we're going to be parking, over here is where I was just showing down here about HQ. There's a Warbird ramp. There's Bravo. That green button. Okay. All right, so Bravo taxiway right here. It's a display area in the grass. It's not real obvious. So this is runway 523 right here, this area. And over to the east of 523, there's an easy access. You come right up Echo, dogleg real quick, and you're in the parking lot. So Echo 1 to Echo, and then up into this parking lot. So it really reduces the amount of winding around people are doing to get here. It shortens and eliminates the need to go this way up into this area, except for those few folks, and I'll show you in a moment. where that can go. But this is where everybody that parked here, like that self-HR improvement, dang it. Because that's not what I wanted to say. Right. So, a lot easier to get here than here. Now, right in this area, Chairman, we'll talk about where the air show control is going to go. Maybe I should back up real quick. Air show control, if y'all haven't seen our very epic structure, it'll be going right here, and it takes the place of the air boss, air show operations. Everything is going to move out to that corner, the northeast corner of the Warburg ramp. Also, it has provision in the top of it for Duffy's Tower. I showed you guys last year. So, Duffy's Tower has almost 360-degree view out of it. It's about 300 degrees, as you can see. All of the traffic movement areas are easily observable from inside the air-conditioned cab. You're welcome, Dick. Not that you didn't like the lift the police department provided. I think it was, what, 2 by 2 feet? You guys are stuck up in there and cozy, I heard. So this is a lot better place to spread out, observation on top. People can actually co-locate and operate without running into each other. And then that operation will close. Really easy to see if the red flag's up because everybody's standing there with it. Parking for that, air ops trailer will be in this general area. Going to have it completely finished the design yet, but pretty much where you're used to it being is where it's going to go. And you'll be able to park in here. If you're not going to need your automobile, there's nothing wrong. You can park, as long as you're not encroaching the radius that Adam showed you for the AWAS tower, then you will be able to park in here. There's a little bit of parking over here. Not tons, but it's enough. What we're trying to do is not park over here. Get that out of here. Don't park over there. All right, your air operations, Flipper, I'm going to put this on you. We're going to decide how many we can put in here, and that's how we're going to do it. But you can park. If you parked there in the past, it's still a good place for you to park. Our air show announcers, all the other folks, they're probably going to park where the performers park with their aircraft, and that's going to eliminate all this congestion over here. At least that's the plan. So we'll see how it goes, and it'll be Jeremy, your job to help me. You want to make sure that's the right thing to do if you have to police it once we do it. All right, ADSB. This is one of those terms I start to get a little facial tick because there's so many questions for the last 3 years now that this has been coming. It is required to fly into Sun and Fun if you are so equipped. Now, if you don't have ADSB, and ATC, you guys can police me on this. Where's everybody at? Where'd they go? Okay. So we have the requirement, we're about 2 miles inside the Node C veil, where if you're going to operate in that airspace, in the NAS, you're required to have ADSB, which of course requires emergency transponder. So that you're going to have, skip to the bottom down here, you have the ADSB adapt tool. They put that in place. It's a 5-minute thing. It's a VFR flight plan, basically, with a couple of little checkboxes to check off and determine if you're. It's a little more specific than a VFR flight plan. It looks an awful lot like that. Very simple to do, very easy to do, no reason nobody should do it. Now, in the node, our Mode C corridor that we established years and years and years ago is still there. All right, if you do not have a Mode C transponder, then you can come down State Road 39 and follow that pattern into the Lake Parker arrival, and you can still land. Now, the rub, guys, this is something we'll need to get together on. If someone, there's a gap in this. If someone has a Mode C transponder, but not ADSB, we need to know if they can use that corridor. Right now, I'm going to say no. I'd say all of the adapt thing.
We have different departments in the FAA. One says it's good without the other. The other says that doesn't follow regulatory. So we're still looking into it. It may still be that each individual pilot will have to put in their own before we trying to avoid that. We just have one general note.
Okay.
Still not determined as of yet.
Gotcha. All right. So up in the air, I guess that's a good pun. It's still the Mode C corridor had been there for a long time, and Russ, had kind of worked it. Well, okay, if that's there, I'm not sure that logic ever made it all the way through because we got shut off and it didn't matter anyway. So more to come. Right now, the easy answer is use the adapt tool. You're down. All right, that's the easy answer to that. We will not have, the thing I'm going to beat up on is why didn't we do more to get a waiver from the FAA to waive the requirement for ADSB? Well, that's not even possible. They need to have a department for that. They don't even have a department for that. So that's why. All right, air show start time. Put your cameras out. There you go. This is when you can see the cell phones go up. 1 o'clock, 4:30 on Tuesday and Wednesday. The night show is scheduled for 2 hours, although I don't think it'll take that long. 19:30 to 21:30. Thursday. This is where our Blue Angels come in, and it's a day of Blue Angels goodness. They roll in at about noon. They do their georeferencing maneuvers from 12 to 2. We'll have some air show flying in the middle of that. And at the approximately 3:20, they will take the field for a full practice, during which we will get to see the return of Fat Albert, who will be doing a demo here for the first time. The last 2 times the Blues have been here, Fat Albert did not perform. And this time it's going to with the brand new C-130J Hercules. So it's a big day of Blue Angels flying. And we're working on another surprise, and hopefully I'll have something for you on the next meeting. We'll see how that turns out. But on Thursday. So Friday, 1 to 5:30, Saturday same, Sunday same, with the night show on Saturday for 7:30 to 9:30. All right. The airport, like Adam said, opens at 7 o'clock daily. I kind of worded this a little different. You know, Sun and Fun arrivals close at 7:30. I didn't know how you guys were going to word it with the airports. This is technically a 24-hour field now. We have to handle commercial traffic. So Adam's description is definitely one to go by. This one I think touches it, but his is more specific. We will have live air show TV as usual Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We do have something special planned for Thursday night. It doesn't cost us anything. Lights. Okay. They're going to be here anyway. So we're looking at kind of a pre-show thing to do on Thursday night. It gives us a little bit more flexibility to set up the next couple of days. All right, campground closure. Thursday at around 11:30, it's got to be clear. The Blue Angels requirements are that they are under waiver the entire time they arrive and practice on Thursday. So make sure your campers are well aware that that's happening. It's a little earlier than we've been able to get away with in the past. I'm pretty sure we're not going to get away with that anymore. If they're coming on Thursday, we're going to have this lengthy waiver for them. From Friday on, 3 o'clock, they're going to take the field, probably, it depends on how the show lines up, but they can take the field anywhere from about 4 to 4:20. You need that hour to get them out of there, because you got those that hide in the camper and the law enforcement message going, not going to go and get them all out. So 3 o'clock on the other show days for the weekend. All right, highlights. This will be the actual very first public venue that you can see the United States Navy Blue Angels and their brand new Super Hornets. They were going to go to NAS Jacksonville, and NAS Jacksonville decided COVID was too scary, and we get them. So that's very cool. The return, like I said, of Fat Albert doing this full demonstration. Very cool. If you haven't seen that, it's really neat to watch. We will have some skull demonstration. Gary will get with you on that, but it's pretty much the thing we had planned last year is what we're planning to bring in this year. So really not much change. We just need to actually get it done. And the return of my friend Rob Holland will be back. I just spoke to Rob earlier in the week, so World Aerobatic Champion for like 100 years in a row. Rob will be here, which, some of the aerobatic folks are going to be here. Mike Wiskus is another very notable aerobatic pilot, Greg Kuntz. Some of those guys are all going to make up some pretty special stuff we're going to do in Aerobatic HQ. Again, trying to draw in some more of those general aviation pilots that are tilted toward the extra 300 and life in 3 dimensions. We will do expanded warbird shows. We're looking at having quite a number of warbirds on Wednesday, a little over an hour's worth of warbird flying. We're planning on a multi-layered event where we'll have some heavies up top, some of the more of the fighters in the middle, some of the liaisons on the bottom, a lot of action. So we're planning on having a lot of fun with that. F-22 Raptor has not been here in several years, so we're looking forward to welcoming them home. The pilot is actually a Lakeland native, so we're expecting some excellent media coverage from that. We are planning on Saturday night, the Wall of Fire and Fireworks. We'd already paid for it, so we couldn't get our money back, so we're going to do it. And believe it or not, I'm going to say it, we're going to try the drum show again. Now it's out there. You guys didn't like the stealth drums last time? You couldn't see it. It was a raging success. It was great. No, these guys are actually, our researchers, they pulled off quite a number of shows in the last couple of years. They're only one of 3 drum companies still standing. The one notable one that's still going is Intel, if that tells you anything. So I'm pretty proud of those guys for hanging on. They're really good people. They're going to do a STEM engagement throughout the week. Our drone zone is not going to be able to happen, but we're going to have them here talking about drones, and they're available. The education team, they're available for you to help out in any way you'd like when it comes to that subject. So it might be something you can fold in there as you work through your plans. All right, sponsors. Remember, you can work sponsorship. Hey, way back when, this is something I was running into. There's something that got said 15 years ago is the way it is, because that's the way it was in the campground. Well, no. You can work sponsorship for your area, but the trick is you've got to do it together. It's a coordinated effort. There's a process for it. If you've got something going on, you say, hey, we'd like a sponsor, we have an opportunity. There is a sponsor we know about. All right, we need to contact Melanie Ayers. Melanie, where are you? There she is, back there in the back. Definitely check in with her, let her know what you're thinking, and we'll get you into the process of integrating that sponsorship. Don't go it alone. There's a couple of things there that you can find yourself in the middle of something that's already happening that you don't know about, and then upend it. And then everybody's mad. And nobody wants to be mad. So have that happen. If you want to know how it gets done, check in with aircraft judging and military hospitality. They've done very well with that. Another shout out would be Dave Schauber and his team for Sunday Fun Radio, who have had an excellent sponsor program. And they do it very well, and they do it very coordinated. So look at that. These duplicate requests, for example, Publix or Geico or something like that, it really looks like we have no clue what we're doing when multiple entities come out for money out of the same organization. They don't know that you come in, annually. They just see you Sun and Fun. So rather than having to unravel all of that, it's very simple. Come through our channels. You'll find yourself, Melanie's very good at assigning volunteers to various things. You will find yourself as the point person for that sponsorship if you'd like to keep it going. We need the help. We need the help. Just to hand it off and say, why didn't it get done? We don't want that either. We want to make sure it gets done. So we do need the help. So we're trying to create this in a way that facilitates that, not just being on the island and everybody scratch their head wondering why they need the sponsorship for their area. All right, last item up to bid is always have fun. I do want to mention of air show safety, flying safety. There's just a couple of things people can act kind of irresponsibly. You guys didn't think I'd get out of here without one more video, right? So I'm going to give you a little example of maybe how, some of the pilots, especially, this is one of the reasons I don't really like ride numbers so much. This is kind of why. Okay, let's see what happens with this guy.
Hey, it's my birthday and I want the shit scared out of me. I want to do barrel rolls and loop-the-loops, just all that kind of stuff. We don't do that kind of flying here. It's dangerous and irresponsible.
Hey, lawsuits.
Well, who does?
He does.
Hey, hi. This guy wants a scary ride. It's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Congratulations! You earned your wings today, young man. My hat's off to you. Well done. Yes, sir. Good work. Thank you. Nice and everything.
Safety first. Laura Bond.
Welcome back. I, for one, am very, very happy to see you, as we all are. So I appreciate you coming and being here with us today, and getting the 2021 event off the ground and going forward. So I get to talk about all the dull stuff. Everybody else has had a lot of fun this morning. Greg's had me in tears and he's had me laughing and all that stuff. So I get to talk about the lovely stuff. Where's the clicker?
Right here.
Okay, so getting into the boring stuff, the ticket deadline, or the tent deadline is coming up pretty quickly. For those of you who are chairman in the audience, you've received emails from me that have explained that we're tightening up our belt this year. We're trying to reduce our overall costs. That includes tents, golf carts, and things like that. So many of you have gone in and made changes. Some of you, I've gone in and changed your tent sizes, and I've put little notes in the side where I've made those changes. I haven't heard a lot from you, so hopefully you've been in and you've seen those changes. How many have actually accepted the chairmanship right now? Okay. If you have not, please go in and accept your chairmanship. If there's some reason that you're not accepting your chairmanship, I also need to know about that as well. So the process is going to be moving pretty quickly. We're into February, so there's a lot of things that are going to have to kind of move forward at a little bit faster pace than we normally do because we kind of jump-started here. So again, the tent equipment deadline is coming up here February the 15th. Please go in and manage your tent and look to see if I've made a change. If I haven't made a change and you think we can do something smaller or change something, remove the floor, go ahead and make that change and drop me an email and let me know that you've done so, because I need to start pulling up reports. Lights and I have a meeting with our tent vendor on Tuesday, and I'd like to kind of give him an idea of what we're looking at as far as our tent inventory goes. The other equipment on your equipment list, the deadline right now, you need to have everything finalized by March the 10th. That's so we can compile what our numbers are and get those out to our other vendors. So I've had probably 25 to 30 emails regarding registering for Camp Duffy this year. We revamped our website last year. First we revamped our ACE website, and then we started in on the event website for the fly-in. And we got a lot of the information together and put together and finalized for our guests as we move through. One of the things that we were not concentrating on is the part of that website that I use for additional volunteer correspondence and management of information. So we're currently trying to put the final touches on that website. So things like reserving your Camp Duffy, or letting me know that you're going to be here and be in Camp Duffy, or nominating someone for a Camp Duffy spot, ordering signs, ordering hard tag requests, that kind of thing. That website will be available. Hopefully, I've got a tentative date of March the 5th, or February the 15th. We're working toward that right now. There's a domain that has to be set up for it. I think the site is pretty much ready to be dropped onto that as soon as it is set up. So if you get an email from me and asking you to confirm your Camp Duffy spot or whatever I'm asking you, please respond as quickly as you can to get all of that information back to me so we can figure out how many spots we have available in Camp Duffy and so on. Again, the daily schedule, which is part of the website for our guests to view, that is not quite live on the website as well. We are currently starting to input our forum schedule on the daily schedule in the back file. If you have something that you know needs to be added to the daily schedule, you can send it to me and I can go ahead and populate that. There will be a link on that website that we'll be formulating by the 15th where you can go in and add your own entry. Again, it's critical that we start getting this information on as soon as we can so our guests have something to look at. So help me with that. If you have something special going on in your area, we depend heavily on workshops, forums, and a lot of extracurricular activities that happen. We depend on our chairman to supply us that information. So COVID-19, we've all experienced it for the last year. I'm kind of sick of it, to tell you the truth, as I hope many of you are, but we have to, so we have to address it. I don't know, a lot of you in the audience probably know Sandy Bridges. She was on staff here for a while. She has agreed to be our COVID committee chairman. We've got some processes that we're pushing forward. The committee's going to meet and kind of go over processes that are in our current policy, which is live on our website right now. That policy can change as we move toward the event, but right now that policy is available. In addition to that, I am going to be sending out a link to a form that's going to go to every area of the fly-in, asking you questions about your particular area. On that page where that form is, the current policy is all because it will be there as well. So you'll be able to read the policy, fill out the form as you see fit. That information will go back, it will come to me and it will come to Sandy, and we will present that to our committee and try to address any concerns that you might have for your particular area. We need you to be as honest and as thorough. Think about all the operations in your area and what concerns you might have or what issues we may need to address that we may not have thought of. So I'm ready for the next slide. Okay, so please reduce your order of fly-in guides and maps on the equipment request. That's another item that we spend a lot of money on that we're trying to reduce down. So if you don't need as many, we may not be printing as many, and we need to have as many as available to our guests coming into the event.
Boy, we love you, and we need some excitement, you guys. Come on, don't get out here, please. Hit registration.
Since we are dealing with COVID-19, there are going to be volunteers that normally come to our event and support our event that are not going to be, for whatever reason, they're not going to be participating this year. I've had chairmen that have come to me. I've had different operations that are going to have a very low turnout in volunteers. So I've asked chairman to be in contact with Robin McFarland to let her know what their particular needs might be. If you feel like you're going to be short volunteers, please contact Robin and Sue Tarver and let them know what your needs are. Now there's a caveat to that. If those ladies take the time to send you a list of volunteers that are available to work in your area, you have to manage that list. You have to make contact with the volunteer, you have to speak with them, and if they work for your area and you sign them up, great. If you don't, you have to let Robin know that they are not going to work for you, so they can be placed elsewhere. We are going to be short volunteers this year, I'm afraid, and we have to utilize anyone that is willing to work for us for the event. So please, if you get a list of volunteers that are, and there are those that are not going to work in your area, you have to return those volunteers back to Robin so she can place them elsewhere. Everybody got that?
Oh, God.
Okay. Okay. talked about where we are revenue-wise. We had almost $1 million worth of revenue that was rolled over from last year from our exhibitors, just our exhibitors. So we're rolling them, or we're contracting them again, but right now we're sitting at 397 exhibitors. We normally have about 500 exhibitors for the fly-in. So we get a cancellation or two, and then we get a new volunteer. We had, I think the last time I looked at the list, we had about seven or eight exhibitors that are completely new to the event this year. So people are, you know, trying us out for the first time. So that's good. All right. So these are some new chairmen for the event this year. The Ace Flight Deck and the Birthday Bash, Michelle Rysmith, staff member, is going to be overseeing those two operations. The Aerospace Discovery at FAM. Doug, I don't know if you realize it, but you're the chairman of that area now. Just as an FYI. Airshow Team Logistics, Andy Ovens is going to be taking over. Jeannie Snyder this year decided through everything to retire and take the easy way out. But Andy is going to be taking over those duties, and I wish him a lot of luck because I did that for 15, 20 years, and it's not a fun thing to do sometimes. Sometimes it is, but it's a lot of work. So they mentioned before the campground store, our early bird Mark Gurley, who is actually operating that when we have events here on the site. He's also going to be running that during the fly-in as well. So it's going to be a seamless, I'm sure, operation. So go right through the fly-in with it. Corporate reception, Tabitha Richard that did our corporate reception last year, staff member. She was one of those that kind of found other employment. She actually left because she thought her husband was moving out of state to take an aviation job elsewhere. Things changed and she ended up staying in town. But she's no longer with us. So Lori Fuller, who is not with us today, but is Lights as EA, is going to be stepping back into that role for this year. So that's she'll be running the main office in the front during the fly-in. As I mentioned before, Sandy Bridges is taking on our COVID committee chairman area, and then Greg mentioned that our military support team has changed because of Brett's passing. Shelley Blessing and Rich Hall will be taking that over as chairman. These are the areas currently that I am aware of. Things change on a daily basis that will not be operational areas for the flying this year. So we have the Air Show All-Star Rendezvous, which is an event that we held on, Friday? And that was basically a party that we opened up, had the Air Show performers there and that. We will not be taking that on this year as a cost-cutting measure. The British cadets, of course, come over from the UK normally. They will not be coming, but the good news is they are planning to come over in December and support our holiday event in December. So that was great news. They're busy coordinating that as we speak. The career fair, it will not be in our Southeast exhibit area this year. We are going to postpone that for a year. Hopefully it will be back in 2022. The drone zone as well will not be here this year, and I'm not sure what the plan for the future for that is, but we will not be having it this year. As we move forward, the FAA forums, building operations will not be functioning this year. The building will be closed. I think someone mentioned that earlier. Ham radio operations will not be available this year. That function is not, I don't know that with the Skylab, they normally set up near the museum, and with Skylab operation, we are not going to be able to host that. International Visitors Hospitality. Sandy Bridges took on that chairmanship last year. Of course, we didn't have the event, and now we're not having an international tent because we don't feel like we'll have a lot of international guests attending this year for the obvious reasons. So Sandy stepped out of that. She'll be back in that as soon as that life gets back to normal, but So we will not be having international visitors. The kiddie activities in the campground, which was a small tent that hosted the kids that were camping in the campground, will not be operating this year. The Sun and Fun Today newspaper, Ben Sclair with GA News that comes down and does our daily newspaper, will not be here this year. So I think Greg touched on the fact that we're doing some kind of digital operation as far as getting the word out to the customers and to you guys as well. And then Vintage Theater, which was the bleacher area that we set up at the north side of the Vintage parking area, we will not be doing that as well this year. We have a couple of areas that we need chairmen for. The first one is our commercial security chairman. That is a security team that works directly with Bonnie's exhibitor team, and they help protect the comings and goings of the people that are going into the exhibit buildings. They check for cars that are parked in the area, and it's a lot. It's a big job. This year it'll be a little bit bigger because of the fact that we most likely will be controlling the in and out traffic into the hangars in order to keep limits for guests going into the hangars. So there's a opening if anybody's interested. If you know someone there that might be interested in helping us out with that, that would be great. You would need to talk directly with Bonnie. She's been doing a couple of interviews, but so far we have not gotten a person for that job, so we're still looking. Overnight RV hospitality, that's basically, you don't have to be there overnight, but it's basically a transportation service for those individuals that camp out by camper registration, what we call overnight RV camping, that provides transportation back and forth into the field where people can come in and see the show, take a shower, that kind of thing. So it's a daily operation, driving a van back and forth, basically. And then hands-on workshops. This is a little different. The chairman, Marcia Buckingham, will not be here for, she has a husband that's very susceptible to COVID, and she cannot expose herself. So she has agreed to actually do the background work, ordering the credentials, contacting the volunteers, but I need a boots on the ground person for workshops for 1 year. She's trying to pull someone out of her workforce, but if you've got anybody that might be willing to help that operation along, please let me know and I will put you in touch with Marcia. Okay, so that really long email that I sent out to the chairman that I keep adding things to, a couple of emails ago, I sent you a sign shop form, and on that form, it had a deadline of March the 20th. We normally tie that deadline into when our last volunteer meeting is going to be. So we've changed the last volunteer meeting to March the 13th. So March the 13th is now your deadline for signs. So please make a note of that, and if you go in when we have the sign shop form on the website, it will have the new deadline on it. Okay, and that is everything that I've got. I hope that I've kind of helped you along with the process, but of course we've got a lot of kind of confusing stuff going on with this website's not being ready. If you've got any questions, the best way to get in touch with me is through email at this point, and please, shoot me an email if you've got questions. This presentation will be made into a PDF, and I will be putting it on the website as well, so you can refer back to it, as well as the video if it's if it's working. So we will have a video and a PDF for this if you want to refer back. I am going to introduce Jennifer Sasser from CFAA. She wants to come up and talk about the student operations, volunteer operations during the event.
Thank you. you can reach me, okay? So we do appreciate everything that you guys are doing, and I'm looking forward to working with you this year. All right, so it looks like next we've got Jim Gray. Where's Jim at?
Hi everyone, I'm Jim Grave. I'm over in the sign shop, chairman of the sign shop, and we have a smaller team this year that's in there, so we could use your sign orders as early as you can get them to us, so that we can spread it out over a longer period of time and still get everything done. I can tell you that we have the 2020 signs that you had ordered all done. They are done. They are cluttering our shop even, so if you want to come by at any time, come on by the sign shop and pick up your 2020 signs. They have been done. If they're the 2020, they have been done. Come by and get them. And that'll help us out. It'll also get you out looking at your signs and making sure that you feel good about doing the event and having the right signage. Now, a couple of things with the COVID thing. We will be kind of a COVID compliant shop, so we'll come on in and we keep everything all cleaned up in the area when you come to the table to fill out a sign or to pick up signs and all that, and we get them nice and clean and we get them to you at that time, so you can rest assured that way. The other thing is we understand about the different money situation that we've been in, without having to show last year. So we want to help on the signs in this way, and I could really use your help. If you give us signs that you had, maybe you probably already know, hey, we don't really use this one anymore. And if you give us orders and you give us your old signs, we will, we will fix them up, get the new vinyl, get whatever you want on there, and get those signs back to you. It is quite a bit less expensive for us to work on just doing the vinyl part and giving you back your core class sign, that you had. And saying that, don't live with a bad sign. I've seen them out there. I know you got one that a letter is scraped off or whatever. It's like, no, don't reflect that. Get that to us. We'll do up an order and we'll take care of prettying it up, fixing it up. Don't live with something bad that reflects, wrongly on us. And we can do those really easy. So bring old signs in with the new info that you want on there. Great, we'll do it. We'll clean up. And believe me, we'll look at the sign. If it really is too dilapidated, we'll take care of that at the same time. We'll get you a whole new one. So we're smart enough to be able to see that. But so help us out as much as possible. Pick up these signs that maybe you're not using and say, hey, we're not going to use these anymore. Give them to us, and even if you don't have any other orders that are there, we can sometimes use those same blanks. We clean them up. We take everything off and we rebuild it and repurpose it, out so that somebody else can use it, and we can save a little bit of money that way when we do it.
Tell them where the sign shop's at.
Well, most of these people, the sign shop is in the maintenance building. Right? Go to the offices of the maintenance building, to the break room, and into the sign shop. If you keep going and out, then you're out the back door. So don't do that. But just the sign shop over there in the maintenance building, 4250 Maintenance Way. If you're gonna come on out there, it's always easy to email. Laura Bond does a great job of getting the sign shop order form available, the chairs, and we take them in all sorts of ways. I've had people, if it's a simple sign and you can just email me the real meat off the form, you don't even have to find some special way to scan in your thing or whatever. We'll work with you to try to get it done. We know you want your area represented well, and we want the signage for your area to really support your efforts really well. So I think that's all I got.
Jim. A couple things to add here. When they talked about the FAA building being closed and not having forums or seminars, that's true in the live sense. But I had a good conversation with Jennifer and Max, and they are going to still do their seminars and forums through via WebEx, and we are going to promote that. So they won't only be able to still see them, but they'll be broadcast nationwide. So we're thrilled with that opportunity. And that also applies to our GA News today, that we're not going to have the actual paper. The daily digital news strand that we're putting out will be going nationwide as well, because we're hoping to share this with folks that unfortunately may not have been able to come. I make a pitch also for Jennifer Sasser's high school students. I know that some of you had some issues in the past with high school student attendance or skill sets. I implore you, please try it again and again. Don't give up. There are pearls of wisdom amongst that sea of ignorance out there. They want to be like us. You have to mentor them. They will get there. Be patient. All right? So, do we have any questions? Okay. Any questions? See if I got something. Was there something up here about next meeting? It's going to be March 13th, right here. Mark that down. Also, we've got posters available back here. Don't take them all. We're not getting 10,000 of them and handing them out anymore. Those days are over for the time being. But believe it or not, people are buying them online. We're selling like hotcakes. So get your small one today. Buy a t-shirt. We also have those on available out there. And we really did miss you. Oh, you got a question back there, Sandy? You're talking about camper registration off of Hamilton, right? Absolutely, it's going to be open. The airport's done a phenomenal job. If you haven't been out there, take it. You can't get out there right now, but they pay, basically, they put millions down, and you're going to see a lot of trailers out there those are birthing trailers from FEMA. They use those in case, well, FEMA doesn't have them. They rent them from a private company that provides housing for emergency services. So, yes, there will be an access to that. The only issue is going to be, and this is just reality, is Hamilton is not a 2-lane road for 2 giant RVs coming and going. Somebody's going to have to ease off the road to get it done. But there will be access. So that's the way you get in and get out, and it's going to work. So there you go. Yes, sir. Hey, Flipper.
Sir, we'll have an Air Ops meeting here right after you pick up lunch, and we'll keep it short.
Thank you, sir. I think, somebody got anything else? Yeah. All right. Well, of course, go Bucks, right? Go Bucks. Good golly almighty. All right, let's have a great, anybody, anything else? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Go once, go twice, go 3 times. Let's have lunch. Thank you all very much. Let's have a great day.